Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. And thanks so much for joining today. It's always good to see you. So, today we're going to look at a question that has come up a couple of times, and I'm going to summarize this one. Basically, my person is ignoring me. Should I hang in there? Should I continue to keep hope alive? Or is it time for me to just walk away and kind of move on? So that's what we're going to look at today. Of course, it's going to be a general reading. It's going to be very much connected to the rest of the readings, so it's not going to resonate with everybody. And as I often say, it really shouldn't resonate with everyone. But if you do find that it resonates with you, you may want to check out some of the other videos. You may want to subscribe so that you can continue to get these messages and be able to connect. Because like I said, these readings are very much all connected with one another. Let's see, I think I want to use this as my primary deck today. And there we go. All right, so we're going to start by looking at just kind of, as I usually do, the energy that is what's in that energetic backdrop. And this is just the energy that you guys are kind of swimming around in right now. Let's see, what is this? We have the Child of Challenges. All right. So, Child of Challenges, this one is there's a lot of curiosity here. A lot of curiosity, but a lot of willingness to jump in and do something that's new. So this is like the equivalent of the Page of Swords in the traditional tarot. But it has a lot of that curiosity that often comes from that fire energy. This is really an interesting energy. I would almost call it an auspicious energy, especially after the energies that we've had come up in some of the last readings, because one of the reasons we do this is so that we have the context with which to read the rest of the reading, so you can see what kind of day is it. Different answers hit differently on different days when you're in different moods. So it's interesting. We've got basically, one of the things that I didn't say here was the concept of the minor arcana Fool, because it wasn't actually coming off of this, where oftentimes for me it does. And I think this sums it up nicely. So there is curiosity there, but you see she's sitting. She's not really getting up and doing something about it. She's got a lot of curiosity. She's got a lot of, thinking about doing something that is maybe a little bit scary, maybe a lot scary. But here with the Fool card, we see that ultimately it ends up being like the text that never gets sent. So, and I'm not going to say that that is specifically what's happening, but in some cases it's probably what's happening. We also have the Knight of Pentacles. So we'll have seen this in some of the previous readings, but basically the Knight of Pentacles in reverse has been coming up to talk a little bit about moving in a stop-start, inconsistent sort of way. So again, that energy is showing itself today. But yes, it has that kind of stopping and starting energy to it, not so consistent as what you might want in order to continue getting things done. But I will say that there's been a lot more movement with it lately, even if it has been a little haphazard and inconsistent. Still a lot of fear here. That's why we see that Fool in the reverse. I feel a lot of it there. There is a desire to make things right. So not a feeling that things are right so much as a desire to make things right. This is the Justice card. It's about balance. This Two of Swords also is more or less about balance. So with the Two of Swords, you've got a couple of different options, couple different ways that you can go about things. But this person is feeling like they really aren't sure which direction to go, and it is bothering them a little bit. They have a desire to make things right, but they aren't quite sure how to do it, and it's vexing them. That's the word that wants to come out. Very, very frustrating, gets in the way of their general ability to pursue their desires, which is what we see here with the Ace of Wands. That's an honorable mention. So this is energy that's more around your person. You may also be experiencing some kind of crossroads where it's very difficult to discern the path forward, but that's not necessarily, this is your person, the energy that's coming out. So I wouldn't say that you aren't feeling that. I would say that they definitely are. So it's a decision that's difficult for them to make, which way to go in this crossroads. If you see in this card, she's got a blindfold, both in the reflection and in the actual image, and she's unable to see no matter how she looks at it. Sometimes when you see something like that, the blindfold will be one of the cards like that. The blindfold will be off in one of the images, but in this one, they're both pretty much firmly on there. So let's do these one at a time. So we've got the High Priestess and the Lovers cards, both in reverse. High Priestess card is talking about maybe a little bit more of a difficult time connecting with that higher power and that intuition right now. I would just say keep trying. Don't stop your habits. If you have a habit of praying or meditating, go ahead and keep that habit. But it may be a little bit tough to connect right now. And this is something else that's also going to manifest in frustration with your person. Feels like with the Lovers in reverse, like there's something in the way. There's constantly always something in the way, always some kind of third party energy, always some kind of issue with time, always some kind of, we know about the impasse that you did not come up with the Two of Swords. Oftentimes it comes up with the Two of Wands, but I was kind of looking for it there because of the feeling of that crossroads. I'm not specifically feeling the impasse there, but I am feeling it here in the Lovers card. So it's a tough environment today. I would say it's a tough environment for your person, but it's because it's like something has been laid bare. I'm feeling the Ace of Swords that wants to come out here in the today's energy, but maybe it's just not here yet. So we've got the Nine of Wands and the Devil card, both in reverse though. The Devil card is talking about something being laid bare, and this is something that is in the process of being resolved, not quite yet resolved. So this Devil energy isn't quite gone. However, with the Nine of Wands in reverse like this, they know something now that they can't unknow, can't unsee. There is definite realization. Something has been confirmed for them here. But yes, they do still have to work through it a little bit. So maybe that Ace of Swords is still kind of coming. We saw it an awful lot at the beginning of the year, and we've seen it a lot in between. Right now, I notice we feel it a lot, but not always in the same context as really what we felt in the beginning of the year, which is where your person was being faced with realities, with truths, and the same thing was happening to you. But it's just very difficult it's very difficult to assimilate those truths into the worldview and to just be able to say, okay, this is going to be just the way I look at things going forward, because especially with your person, we know that they've been working hard to try and reframe some views, some values for themselves that they were maybe have been raised with, maybe even came through generations. So let's go ahead and take a look at the question that we're bringing today. My person is ignoring me. Should I keep trying, or is it time for me to more or less walk away? And so I think in some cases, this person ignoring you isn't working very well. So in some cases, they're ignoring you very loudly, I would say. In few cases is the person very soundly ignoring you, where there's not even a lot of stirring in the energy, because mostly what you hear is silence in the physical realm with a bunch of movement happening in the spiritual. Indeed, we have the Weaver of Spells. So the Weaver of Spells, that's fire energy, and the Weaver is the equivalent of the Queen. This is incredible attraction. Now, we just did a reading a couple days ago. When was this? I guess it was 2 or 3 days ago. We did a reading on, maybe it was 4 days ago. I think the time is flying by because I'm thinking about what all the readings have been. But this one was about, why is it okay for you? Oh, if you haven't seen this one, it might be worth going back to see it, because this card pretty much is summing it up. But it's, why is it that your person can be this attracted toward you, magnetized toward you, but it's not okay for you to be magnetized back toward them? And what we discovered in that reading was that it was really all on their side as far as why they have concerns about this. doesn't have anything to do with the actual attraction around you. They aren't ready for it, basically, is what it comes down to. But it's a good reading. It's a good reading that I think it was high time we asked that question in that form, and I think it went really well. It was like 4 days ago, I think. I don't know how many days it was. Um, these days start to run together. Between my day job and having, my regular home life and everything, sometimes I am lucky to know. I definitely don't know what I ate for breakfast. Okay, so looking at this, you've got the Magician card coming out. They're afraid of what they're capable of doing. This is too much ability to manifest. So, of course, it comes out and it's like, hey, they've got this ability to manifest. There's great manifestation energy in here, but that's kind of part of the problem. This is very intentional, like almost manifesting the ignore. They manifested you in the first place, and now they're trying to manifest some sort of peace. It's not so much getting you out of their lives that's important, but getting peace into their lives. And so they believe that the path to doing this is denying this attraction that is really crowning our answer here and getting more into how can I manifest and control the situation. So we've got the Two of Wands coming up here, showing off that impasse that we were just talking about over here, that showed up with the Lovers card. So it's very much in the air right now. But this has to do with kind of this, they're thrusting it out in front of them as an excuse, like saying, I can't possibly do this. I am manifesting this peace that I'm creating in my life, and I'm doing that by running, by hiding. It's not a very effective way to do it, but at this point it's like they're at the end of their rope and they feel like they've tried everything else. I don't get the sense that they have, because there's a need for them to learn some vulnerability, and that's kind of the path that they need to take, but they seem disinclined to want to even admit that it's there in some cases. So we have the Chariot card and the Seven of Cups in reverse. It's like you have to move. This is a super intense feeling. They have to move, but they don't know which way to go. And I get that you're feeling this a little bit as well, but I think it's coming out a little bit differently for you than it is for them. So with them, it's like that pressure that we had talked about this in some of the previous readings. It was probably a week or two ago. It was really coming out. There was this image of like a shell, a really hard shell. Underneath it is all their emotions, and they can't really access it. You can't really access it. No one can really access it. They can't cross the barrier of this shell to get to their own emotions, to understand what's going on, which is part of the reason they have such a hard time telling you. And so, not to say that vulnerability didn't come out when the two of you were more in sync in that way. So you're incredibly in sync still. I don't mean to suggest otherwise. But there was a time when you were more in sync in the 3D. When those vulnerabilities were coming out, it was like this tiny little bit that was able to escape and allow that pressure to escape. But it's like they plugged it up with this manifestation energy, with this Magician energy, and now it's down there just building pressure. And so this Chariot card talks about the pressure that's building, but the Seven of Cups is all about a little bit of an esoteric concept. But instead of it being you have a bunch of options and it doesn't know which way to go, that is exactly what it is. But it's more like we don't know which direction this is going to explode because this is too much pressure building up. So that's kind of in the environment of this energy. It's about the ignoring. I think when we get to, we're really getting a lot of information about the environment of their emotions right now. I think when we get here, we'll get to the should I keep hope alive? Should I continue in this? What is your best course of action? That'll be the question that we get to there, because I want to give this plenty of opportunity to unfold just the way that it is. All right, so we have the Seven of Swords. It was considering coming out earlier. Coming out in reverse is a great thing, except they aren't super comfortable with this. So the Seven of Swords talks about self-trust. It talks about a lack of self-deception when it's in the reverse like this. So it can be very much mistrustfulness, deception, stealing from people, talking about people, you know, silver, it's all kinds of unsavory sorts of things. It can also be a card that talks about strategy. In this context, though, with it being upside down, it still talks about that trust and deception. It's a reference to them and their own self understanding and their own self trust. But the problem is that they can see something that they definitely know is true, and they have a hard time. It's kind of like that Ace of Swords. They know that this is the case. They know that they can trust themselves to understand and to believe what their mind is delivering for them, but it makes them incredibly uncomfortable. Okay, so here's the Emperor. This is not as balanced an Emperor as I was hoping. When I see it come out in the upright, my hope is always, hey, they've got balancing masculine energy that's going to allow them to come off the ego a little bit and stop trying to be controlling about the situation. But I see here, it reminds me of this Magician card over here. They really are trying to manifest control over the situation. And like we've seen in some of the previous readings, I think a couple of the previous readings we've seen, there is guidance that would be really helpful to them here. But for whatever reason, they're shutting it out. And so this is, again, more about the environment of why they're ignoring you. This has a lot to do with, and it's like we've seen in the previous readings, this is a consistent thing. There's a lot of attraction. There's not a lot of them wanting to fall to that attraction. They aren't okay with falling to that attraction. We've got the King of Wands that's more or less reflecting the same energy as this Emperor here, and the Death card, and both of them are in reverse. So the King of Wands is talking about, I'm going to hold this down by the strength of my sheer will, you know. I'm going to refuse to think about this, going to refuse to be decent communication. In some cases, they're refusing to be in communication at all, and they're just doing it by the sheer force of their will, which is strength that it's going to run out, but they're doing their best to avoid that. So with the Death card here in reverse, we know we've had some walls coming down. We know we've had some changes happening for them, but this is still a resistance to those changes. And it's interesting because with the energy of today, knowing that they've seen something has come to light. This is not a comfortable Devil in reverse or Nine of Wands in reverse, because it's not done getting resolved yet. So that's a challenging energy for them to really be in, I think. I think we're done with this. I feel like there's more for us to kind of gather out of this, but this is around the environment, or this is around the energy of why they're ignoring you, and it's about that energy building up. Let's take a look at whether or not, like, what you should be doing. So the question was, should I keep hope alive? Should I continue to remain close, or should I do what I need to do, just kind of walk away, you know? And so that's the question. Really, what is your best course of action on this? Okay, we've got the Ten of Visions. Interesting. So visions is it's water energy. So this is like the Ten of Cups. And in this is about knowing what to do when the situation, like really knowing how to see the situation that is laid out before you. It's more about being able to discern a path forward than anything else. And I get this sense that there's not a need to rush into a decision. So not even the decision of whether you should be hurrying out of this person's life. Okay, so we've got the Queen of Pentacles. There's a feeling of needing to kind of sit back and do some, it's resting and rejuvenation. So it feels kind of like that Four of Swords energy, but more than that, it's about reclaiming yourself. There's a need to reclaim yourself. Something's been discombobulated, not lost. It's not that something's been lost. It's just that it's become a lot more difficult to read. And this is that energy, the energy of something has become a lot more mysterious, a lot more difficult to read, a lot more confusing. So not so much that the words or the signals have necessarily changed, just that there's not as much clarity around what to do, and how you would use that situation. It's really all part and parcel to this Ten of Cups energy over here, this Ten of Visions energy over here, because those are all about knowing what to do when you are confronted with various things, when you're confronted with various stimuli. And at this point, this is saying, hey, I'm not sure what to do. I've got some things to reevaluate. Plus, then we've got this Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is telling you to keep your eyes open, though, because there's going to be, and we know that there's another soulmate coming in your direction, even though they are going to serve to provide a little bit of confusion, will also trigger you a little bit. You have some opportunities there, and you're definitely ready to move into a next step, both in how you're handling the energy of your person and being able to receive the energy of this new soulmate that's coming in. And again, we don't know if this soulmate is a friend, if it is going to be something that turns into more of a romantic partner. But this Page of Wands energy is what allows you to see it and avail yourself of it. So it's there. You just have to cultivate it. That's one of those things that I think we've been saying in the last few readings. Make sure you're keeping yourselves open to those opportunities. Here's the energy that allows you to do that. So it's there. But we got this Ten of Cups. So this is like a double Ten of Cups. This Ten of Cups is here clarifying this other one, saying you're going to have an opportunity to evaluate things once again, whether it's with your person or with this new soulmate, or potentially with a different type of opportunity. Maybe it's a new job. It's difficult to say, but you're going to have the opportunity to evaluate something, and you're going to get to decide how much of this lesson you've really learned and how comfortable you feel with this. So this is kind of, it's great news. Doesn't necessarily look like it happens as quickly as you might like, and doesn't necessarily give you a definitive answer about this, other than you need to not move quickly as far as making your decision. You've got a Knight of Cups here. This is the closest thing that I'm seeing to don't reach out to this person as they're working through this process of ignoring you. It's like they're throwing a fit right now. I think this is what we might want to look into a little bit more when we get into the extended, because I was trying to figure out, like, what is this, 2-year-old pounding and kicking on the floor sort of behavior over here. I feel the frustration, but it's like they're not manifesting, they're manifesting run away. They're manifesting, I need to control this, hold it down. I need to ignore everything that I can see in the background and under the surface, everything that I'm also being guided for. They're resisting, even though, even in today's energy, it's evident that that's a difficult thing to do. I see you being a little bit more open with this Page of Wands energy, but I also, with the Knight of Cups here, see you have the strength not to reach out to this person, which we got, we did a soulmate snapshot here, a few days ago. I am not even going to try and guess how many days ago it was, sometime in the last week, and it was about whether or not you should reach out. And the response or the answer that we got from the cards was really, it's probably not best to reach out right now. And this reinforces that, just kind of saying this is time for your person to work through whatever this is. You are blooming with love, and you deserve really that and I don't see it anywhere, but that Six of Pentacles kind of feeling. You deserve that feeling of give and take being equal. But you definitely want to give your person an opportunity to work through what they're working through, because it feels like the sort of thing that if they do reach out to you, you, of course, like I said before in the previous readings, want to be gentle and understanding about that, because we don't quite know where they are on any given day. This is the mood of it, but then they add their own element to it. I don't get the sense that they are truly ready to have this communication. We keep seeing that they're not quite healed, but they may be coming in anyway. Here, they may be actually able to manifest not coming in, and it's probably, I'm just going to say, I don't usually say this, but it's probably for the better in this energy, because they've got a hard edge to them, and it's not necessarily as pleasant of a conversation you'd be likely to have. So for that reason, because you are really blooming with love right now, it is incredible encouraged that you wait for this positive piece to come in, something that's going to seem really positive, and you have to evaluate it. There's that sense of you using the evaluation lesson here, but let it come to you. You have to be open to it when it arrives, but it's got that sense of letting it come to you. Then we've got the Knight of Wands here, which is activation energy. When an opportunity arises for you, whether it is a new friend, whether it is a new job, you have the possibility between this Page of Wands and this Knight of Wands, you can just go forward and move and do so in, balanced, beautiful love. What I don't see is a bunch of swords here, although we do have the Eight of Swords, luckily being balanced a little bit by this Hermit, because the Eight of Swords, it's thinking, it's logic, but it's not necessarily the productive kind of thinking. The Hermit is going to be that energy that helps you really kind of come back and say, hold on, let's gut check this. Let's make sure that from an emotional and a logical standpoint, things kind of work out and you're not leveraging yourself too heavily in either one of those places. Because with the Eight of Swords, it's logic, but it's masquerading as logic, but it's really a lot more about fear. We're going to get into the extended, because this is saying, it's not best to reach out to them right now, but it's also saying don't make any rash decisions about how you move forward. So we'll ask a little bit more about that, but we got to find out what's happening with your person here, because they've kind of taken their frustration has gone on itself, and now it's like they're throwing a fit, like I was saying. So we'll take a look at that as we go into the extended, and the nature of it, and more about what you should be doing, and some guidance for you there. So that's what we'll do when we get into the extended. The link is down below. I hope to see you there. If not, I'll see you in tomorrow's reading.